everyone, this is Peak Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you, and this will be a season review of Echo. Now there may be spoilers throughout here, not only for this series but also for all other movies and series within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so just beware when going to this overall video, and you can check out my coverage of other Marvel shows and my in-depth reviews, and I'll leave some links up in the description. Now overall, Echo is the 9th Disney Plus live action series based within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which focuses on the main character known as Maya Lopez, who was created by David Mack and Joe Quesada back in 2005, making her first comic book appearance in the New Avengers issue 11. After her father was killed when she was young, Maya is raised by Wilson Fisk, or who we come to know as the Kingpin, to do all of his bidding, but she eventually finds out the true nature of his character, and she looks to gain revenge after he was responsible for killing her father. She has the ability to recreate or copy the movements of all of the enemies that she comes across. And this series plays that origin throughout, especially in the first episode, where we get very quick snippets of Maya's journey throughout the Marvel timeline. We see her meeting Fisk for the first time when she was young, encountering Charlie Cox's Daredevil, meeting Hawkeye or Clint Barton from that series, and we see her confrontation with Fisk at the finale of that series, where she shoots him in the face. Now from that point onwards, we see Maya encountering various foes with her fighting abilities, trading off against her deafness and her disability. We also get insights into her native origins as we see her reconnected with her family and community. She also finds herself pursued by Wilson Fisk's organisation as she faces the prospect of meeting him once more. Now going into this series, I really wasn't that enthusiastic, not only because of the disappointing run of Disney Plus Marvel shows, but also because I just couldn't find any justification for a standalone series around this character. Not that there was anything remotely terrible about Echo's appearance in the Hawkeye series, it's just that there was nothing particularly compelling about the character. And sadly, after watching this 5-episode series, I still can't see a sound reason for this show existing outside of streaming content and Marvel's ongoing diversity push in its current universe. Now yes, it can be argued that there was some novelty here, this being the first truly R-rated Marvel series. The opening installment in its titled Marvel Spotlight continuity, which promises to herald in a new run of shows and content that is far more stripped down and grounded in reality and much more mature and darker. And certainly from the trailers that were released, it did get fans very much interested, as Echo seemed that it would be far more closer in spirit and tone to the Netflix Marvel series that we had concerning the likes of Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones and Iron Fist, and also the Punisher. Now as already mentioned, we do see both Charlie Cox's Daredevil and Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin appearing, which does beg the question as why they just couldn't have continued those Netflix shows instead of rejuvenating these characters for the upcoming Daredevil Born Again show as well as this particular series. So on the one hand, there is a serious consistency here in terms of the maturity and its tone. We don't get the jokey, comedic approach that we saw from previous Disney Plus series, and overall the tone is maintained a lot better this time round. But if we really look at the end product here, it's just so underwhelming. As a story, there's not really a lot here to keep you excited or compel you. It really is just about Echo or Maya confronting Kingpin, whose appearance is probably the best element of the series, and we just get that combined with a whole series worth of flashbacks. We look at Maya as a character and what is her purpose? She's not a superhero, she's not a heroic crime fighter, she's not trying to save the day or make the world a better place. The whole revenge angle against Kingpin was already explored in Hawkeye. Now when we do eventually get the confrontation between the two characters of Maya and Fisk, we see that he offers her the chance to reunite with him once more. She refuses, he throws a tantrum and then goes after her family, and then that's it. And we ask the question, does Wilson Fisk really need Maya in terms of his organisation? Is she really that special and integral to his overall plans? Now whilst it's always good to see Vincent D'Onofrio play Wilson Fisk, I feel once again like the Hawkeye show that this character has really been nerfed in comparison to what we saw from the Netflix Daredevil run. We see him again being much more complacent and less threatening and imposing. Again, his overall reliance on reuniting with Echo just doesn't seem necessary for the character, and when we come to the finale, we see him once again being beaten by a female character, and this will once more reinforce the ongoing narrative of the MCU affecting the best characters within the Marvel universe. So as good as his performance is, I just think it's a shame once again to see this character very much being brought down from the awesome levels that we saw previously before. And in terms of the series tone, as well as the gritty action and fight scenes, the series tries to go for something far more spiritual, as we see a whole multitude of flashbacks involving Maya's ancestry and family heritage. Now admittedly, some of these sequences are handled very well. There's a certain sincerity and semblance of beauty and composition in certain sequences that we see. But then other scenes are a bit weird and odd, especially when we have the whole scenes of what I guess is the original race of powered beings from Maya's culture, I suppose. These scenes are far more in keeping as what you would see from the looks of maybe Avatar or Pocahontas, and they really are at odds of what we see in terms of the current timeline. And for the most part, they're generally all surface level without any real weight or gravitas to them. This includes a very weird sequence at the finale where we see Maya and her family have this spiritual awakening, and then we see their fists glowing, very much like what we saw with Iron Fist before they start taking out all of Kingpin's gang. And it's a sequence that just didn't work for me, and once again just shows the overall lack of consistency in terms of the execution. We then have to talk about once more the diversity pushing, and we get a lot of focus on Maya's family, which I really didn't care for in terms of the characters. Now I will say at least they weren't played for hyperkinetic comedic laughs like what we saw with Blue Beetle, but as with the Miss Marvel series starring Kamala Khan, I just find the cultural focus to be the least interesting part of the series. At the end of the day, these are superhero adventures, not cultural showcases, and whilst there's nothing wrong with touching on the character's background or heritage with these shows, I just think the focus is too lopsided and we don't get enough of the superhero action, and once more it leaves you very unsatisfied. We look at the show where in the beginning we had some quite exciting fight sequences, of which we then contrast with the finale, which is very underwhelming. We then talk about the character of Maya herself, and whilst actress Alaka Cox is fine in the role, it's always difficult for a lead character who doesn't talk to actually carry the show. Hence the reason for so many flashback sequences to try and add context and weight to the character that the performance can't. You still don't really feel the need to root or sympathise for this character. She's kind of just there with no special appeal, and when you get to the end of the finale, you ask yourself, are you really yearning to watch any further adventures of Maya? And I think the answer is no. And the finale itself is so flat and nondescript and just very uninspired and lacking. I just didn't feel any resonance or significance for the show, and sadly yet again is yet another Disney Plus Marvel series that I can't validate anything to justify its existence. Now overall, was Echo the worst Disney Plus show? I would say no. It definitely wasn't as bad as say She-Hulk, Moon Knight or indeed Loki, but I definitely wouldn't put it anywhere near the heights of the Netflix Marvel series, in particular the couple of seasons of Daredevil and also the first season of The Punisher. It did have the same violence and tone, yes, but it wasn't really hardcore or graphic. It was serious enough to gain some sort of credibility, but after the first episode, the violence kind of subsided with each following installment. So sadly overall, Echo just remains yet another very underwhelming and disappointing Disney Plus shows. And having gone through the previous series as well, you just wonder, will we actually ever see an upturn in quality in terms of the shows, in terms of the concepts, the characterization and the storytelling? Whilst I fully understand the need to expand the universe in order to provide content for the Disney Plus platform, I just feel Marvel are choosing characters that aren't really that interesting, and I think it is having a major impact on the universe in its current state. If the Marvel Cinematic Universe is ever to continue past phases 5, 6 and 7, where we will be dealing with newer characters outside the original core, then they do have to start picking far more interesting and dynamic characters rather than Echo, if the franchise ever hopes to reach the same levels and heights as what we saw from its phases 1 to 3. So there's my overall thoughts and review of the first season of Echo. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any other further suggestions or movies or television series that you'd like to see me cover within the channel, then also drop me a suggestion within the comments and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves and I will see you very, very soon.